How's it going, S. Gotham? Sure you guys can hear me. Wait for everybody to get in here before we get started. At least whoever's going to join us. How's it going, Edward Day? Nice, nice. No, I'm here every Mondays. Every Mondays at 9. Thank you. Yes, this is an awesome experience for sure. My name is Luke, aka Dragonwise. I'm a cast member here on Famili, and a little background about me, as I always give a little background, is I am a personal trainer and fitness consultant for the past almost 13 years now, and I'm going through a series right now which I call Dissension, and it's a really interesting process as we move towards ascension, and it's actually what people would consider counterintuitive. How's it going, Tex born and raised? On the dong. Welcome, welcome. So it's actually, the dissension is going within to go without. This is how you ascend. This is how you move past an evolutionary concept of your personality. Past couple Periscope broadcasts that I've done have been on labels, removing the stickiness of labels. And just a little bit about that is all these labels that we have, these layers of labels that we've placed upon our heart that dictate who we are. And not labeling a situation, we're able to actually go and see what those labels are that are attached to our heart, and able to remove those labels, to rip those off and reclaim who we are. In doing so, that stickiness, the residual of that of energy of those labels, they're still there. And what we often find is as soon as we rip off those labels, something comes into our environment that is very much, it's very much reminiscent of that stickiness of that previous label. And that's just the stickiness of the label. That's just your intentions for something are in a certain direction, but for so long those labels have been there and they've moved in a certain direction. It takes some time for those gears to kind of start turning the other direction. It's almost like your first test to see, is that really what you want? You say you want this, but you've been living in a certain way, in a certain environment, in a certain manner for so long. It's like a test to see if you're going to follow through. And that's the best kind, because after you pass those tests, then the intentions that you have for your life start to manifest. But oftentimes it's like, we'll say, oh man, I want a better life, I want a better position, I want a better job. And then, the next thing that happens is that person loses their job. And they're immediately in this completely resistant phase of saying, no, I don't want, well, screw me for asking for anything better. Thanks, God. Thank you, universe. Thank you for I wanted something more, but screw me for even wishing for something. Well, but what they can't see, what we fail to see, is we label that situation as a negative thing. But if you wanted a better job, perhaps you weren't in a good position to go look for another job because you were comfortable. You were comfortable in that job. You wouldn't have found something better had you not suddenly been thrown and cast into this thing where you lost your job. You had to go find another one, right? You had to go searching for something, or perhaps you had an idea of something you wanted to build, or you wanted to become an entrepreneur of some kind, and you just weren't going to do that where you were in your comfortable space within your job. So that's where we go with the labels, right? Are we going to label the situation for it being negative or positive within our life, or are we just going to look at what our intentions are and then have no expectations about it? Really? There's a a gentleman. Gosh, his name is leaving my mind at the moment, but I'll remember it. There's a gentleman that used to train the Navy SEALs, and when he was putting together the Super Soldier program, he told the Navy SEALs, he ingrained in them that whatever happened on the battlefield, whatever happened in life, in their life, that it was all for the greater good and always in their benefit. And he did risk, right? Supposed risk, right? Because if I can see the bigger picture, there really was no risk. My intentions were being manifested, whether it was a positive or a negative thing coming into my life. The environment had to change. So you're in a job and you want to write a book and you're like, oh, I'm going to find that time, but your job just demands so much of you. Necessity is the mother of invention. Suddenly you have no job. You have no income. You have none of these securities that you thought you had before because you're supposed to be doing something greater. And you know that. You know your purpose. You know that the story that you're writing isn't the one you want to be living. And that's when we look in these labels and say, whose label is this? Who am I? What is this? What? I don't believe this about myself, right? Because you can look and you can say, oh, well, my name is so-and-so, but is that who you really are? Because it's you're under a name, you're under an impression of this name that that's what you are and that's who you are. But it's not. Your name is a product of your experience, right? So when you label the things that have happened to you as your experience, you say, well, that happened to me. But it didn't happen to you. It happened to your name. It happened to your experience. That experience happened to your personality, but it didn't exactly happen to you unless you say it did, unless you internalize it, unless you keep it there. Unless you say, oh, I can't be who I want to be because so-and-so abused me or so-and-so did this or this person hurt me or I never got to get the cookies out of the cookie jar, or whatever it is. Or we can tell ourselves the best possible awesome fairy tales that we can write for ourselves. And in any good fairy tale, in any good like adventure, it's not going to be like, you're not going to read a book that's just, and then he went here, and then he did this, and then he traveled up the hill, and there was no wizard or dragon or anything in his way. It was all just peaches and cream the whole way, right? Roses. No one's going to really appreciate what's at the top of the mountain if there was no challenge to get there, right? I personally, if I see something for free and I know the person that's offering it, I'll say, how much do you want for that? Oh no, well, I'm offering it for free. I'd rather pay you for it because I can see the value in it and I know I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to follow it. I know I'm going to watch the videos. I know I'm going to do your course if I pay for it, if I got some skin in the game, right? Because anything that we want in life has to have some value, right? We have to have some value to it. All the rewards come with these risks, these challenges. So if you're writing the book and you say, I want to live an amazing life. Do you want to live an amazing life that's easy? That's boring? No. You want to be able to see these challenges for what they are, as opportunities. These amazing opportunities that are coming into your life. And when you're resistant to that change, right? Because your intentions, I want this better thing. Not better, I feel like this is where I'm called to be. And then immediately the things that we have in our environment, immediate environment, where it's family, friends, children, whatever, the environment suddenly is changing. The environment is suddenly changing to your benefit, to the greater good of all that are involved. And that's what is happening. But when you're resistant to it, when you suddenly say, no, 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 this is not what I want, right? You're suddenly having to struggle. You suddenly have to put out resumes. You suddenly have to run around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to figure out how am I going to make ends meet. And you're immediately stopping. You're halting. You're resisting the manifestation. You're resisting that beautiful thing that's coming towards you that you asked for in the first place. You're pushing it further away from you because you just asked the universe or God or whoever you pray to, or if you don't believe in God, you asked for this energy to happen, for this better life. You depended on yourself, even if that's what you believe in. And that's what you went for, and now something else happened that seems the opposite. You're pushing the very gift that is being given to you away from you. You're saying, no, 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 not this. Why do we resist the change that we want so badly? There was a gentleman that, a client of mine, that wanted to sell oils. He was a massage therapist, and he wanted to sell oils. And I said, you really should sell these oils. And he's like, yeah, I made a combination of oils, and it's really awesome, but I don't know if it's going to sell. And I said, what are you afraid of? I've tried the oils. The oils are awesome. He said, I don't know. I'm doing all this other stuff, and I'm involved in these other businesses and things, and I don't know if I want to switch gears like that. And I said, well, from my experience, I would say that your greatest success lies under that which you're most afraid to do. That's your pain point, right? That's the point that makes us feel uncomfortable. That's the place that makes us feel limited. Like the what if, suddenly we don't have as much control over our lives as we thought we did. When we don't have that control, we fail to see who's writing the story. You're believing these stories you're telling yourself, but you're forgetting that you're writing the stories. And you're believing these stories and saying, oh, this is what's going to happen, and this is how it's going to happen. This is what's going to happen to me. And the ego, God bless the ego, right? Because the ego immediately says, uh-oh, whatever traumatic thing happened in your life or a previous lifetime, or when you were a child or someone said something to you, it goes, oh, I'm going to stand in here, I'm going to protect you. We're just going to make sure that we never go down that road, right? Don't do it. Don't do that thing, because remember what that person said, it's going to be bad. It's just going to be really bad. And you're always, when you're in that fear mentality, you're always maybe 3 thoughts away from everything going to hell in a handbasket. Just done. But that's the drama, right? That's the drama of this story that we're telling ourselves. Everything's going to be horrible. Everything's just going to be so bad because we're living in that fear. We're living in this survival mentality, right? Who of us are in this world, especially in the United States, is in a survival mentality? Look, I'm from San Diego, and even the homeless people have it pretty good here. I'm not saying I want to be homeless, but they got cell phones. I mean, there's some really crazy stuff. They got a nice bed to sleep. Not knocking homeless. Not saying that they're not suffering in some way, but they're not suffering like we did 200, 300 years ago, right? There was some real suffering going on. There was some real need for survival. We don't have to hunt for our food. We don't have to run away from being food. We don't have to even do anything to the food that we buy. We can buy it ready to eat. We can go to a restaurant. And you're gonna feel pushed into the survival mentality. That's a great comment. Sometimes you feel pushed into the survival mentality. You're going to. That's that old energy. Acting up, saying, fear, 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 fear. Right? The government's out to get you. Fear the government. This is out to get you. Corporations out to get you. All this stuff's out to get you. They cannot do anything to you in the story that you don't write for yourself. Nothing. They don't have any power. See, that's the whole illusion, is these things have power. They don't. It's the story you wrote for yourself. And you keep writing it for yourself. And people say, well, if I don't do this or I don't do that, they're going to get me. The boogeyman's going to get me. Somebody's going to get me. But what they don't understand is if you started to come in a place of love from your heart and not out of fear, and other people were inspired by that, and they too were taking their consciousness from here, analytical thinking, does not compute, must do, and go from here and just go, oh, I have a deep place of compassion, a deep place of compassion for all, for everyone. You don't see it as a separate thing. They're not going to be able to push you in any way that you don't want to be pushed, because this is your story. You are writing this story, and you can write the best story that you want to live. Now, is it going to be challenging? Yeah, that's what makes a great story. Do you win in the end? If you want to. Because winning is just about not being resistant to your purpose, to your life purpose, to what you're here to do. Do you know what you're here to do? You're here to be. Not to become, not to strive for anything more than what you already are, because you can never be anything more than what you already are. And when you come to a deep appreciation for that, you get to play the game on your own terms. You get to write the story your own way. And when you put your intentions forward, which we're going to do a small little meditation right here, you put that intention forward and you say, I expect this or better. Who wants a bland story to tell? I don't, right? The greatest stories we hear about the rags to riches and overcoming adversity and having goals and never giving up, that's what truly makes having all those things worth it, right? The time it takes to see a manifestation, whether it be your physical body, because that's what I do in personal training, is I do a transformation from the inside out. And the time that it takes for that person to see a change in themselves physically is all perception. It's how they perceive their self, and that's how others will perceive them. Their body's already perfect. Your body's already perfect. Already perfect. You want to lose weight, you want to get in shape, you want to feel better about yourself, look at yourself in the mirror with no clothes on and say, I love you, body. I love you. I love my body. Why? Because then your body will change. It will transform to however you want, because you're giving it respect. You're giving it appreciation. You're saying that you love it. Why would your body want to change if you're resistant to it, saying, I hate you, body. You're ugly. You're nasty. You're disgusting. The body's like, I'm just doing what you want. I'm just according to your calculations and everything that you want for you, how you see yourself. That's what I'm doing. So I don't know what you want from me, right? This is where the intention meets the attention. You can have an intention, but if you don't pay attention to the intention, and that means everything that comes up after your intention. Like, let's put forth an intention, right? If I say, I have the intention of manifesting a banana. I can go to the store and I can manifest a banana. That's really easy, right? Because in my frame of mind, in my experience, I have manifested a banana before. I have manifested an apple. I have manifested vegetables. I have manifested a car, right? Everything is coming to you. Your manifestations are on their way. If you look at it from the astral realm, it's like a giant storage facility. And it's just full of all your thoughts. Everything you could have ever dreamed or wanted is just stuck right there. Okay, have a great night. Be sure to check this out again on Catch. It'll be saved for all of posterity. Isn't that wonderful? everything's stuck right there. And it's coming towards you slowly because your perception has not yet understood that it's already there. It's already here. It's already yours. So we're going to do a little meditation about writing your own story and how to manifest. Okay? So quickly, let's close our eyes and let's just start to breathe. Breathe through your belly. You want to fill your belly with air. You're going to fill your diaphragm with air. This is going to supercharge the oxygen that's flowing through your veins because you're going to be able to push all this air up into your lungs and force more oxygen, force the blood to be more oxygenated. You're going to feel very alive during this. So you're going to breathe in through your nose into your belly, breathe out through your mouth, out through your belly. So deep breaths. When you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth and you breathe in through your nose, you should feel a suction in the back of your throat. That's telling you that that diaphragm is filling up with air. I want you to just relax. Imagine every cell in your body relaxing. Imagine your forehead and your ears, your eyes, your eyebrows, your nose and your cheekbones just relaxing. Tension in your jaw and your lips, your throat, your neck, and your shoulders. Take a deep breath, breathe out all the air you can and just let them relax. Let your shoulders relax, let your arms relax, let all the little tingling sensation in your fingers, your hands. Just let all that energy go. Every time you breathe in new light. And every time you breathe out, feel more and more relaxed. Let your stomach relax, let your hips relax, let your joints and your bones just drift off into nothingness. Your feet, your toes, your calves, just let this wave of relaxation flow over your body. I want you to imagine a ball of light coming down from the sky, and I want you to imagine this laser-like beam coming down from the sky, connecting right into the middle of your forehead. And as soon as it connects, as soon as you feel that light, you can feel your body illuminated with this great light all through your body, flowing through. Now I want you to go follow that light deep within your head, deep within your mind, to the center of your mind. And imagine you're in front of a panel, and there's a button there, and there's an elevator. Push the button, wait for the elevator to come. Just notice how peaceful it is. Notice how there's no thoughts running through. You're just in a deep, deep state of relaxation. Almost like as if you're at the beach and you can feel waves coming over you. Just floating naturally from all the light. The elevator has arrived. Hop into the elevator and take it down to the lower chakra floors. Let's go down to the second floor. As you're following this elevator down, begin to feel in your spine a cord extending out through your tailbone and down into the earth, deep, deep down into the earth, into the core. You can feel the heat and the warmth, the sensation in your core as you ride this elevator down. The heat with the cool mixture of the light within you creates a blend of peacefulness. We've now arrived at this second floor, down to the basement. As the door swings open, you walk into a very well-stocked library. It's a beautiful library, and this library is built to the absolute perfection and specifications of how you like a quiet study to look. As you walk through the corridor, you notice all the textures and how the room smells and how it feels and how the environment around you feels as you touch the walls. As you come to the center of the room and your vision adjusts, you see a desk with a book. And just as you look around, you see all these books, so many books. But this is the one you're currently involved in. As you walk up to the desk, have a seat in the chair and feel how familiar this chair feels to you. Feel how familiar the desk feels to you. You've been here many times before. You start to remember writing. Before you pick up the pen, you look at the book and you start to thumb through the chapters. And as you thumb through, let your gut intuition guide you to where you feel you should stop. There might be something important that you're missing. As you get to this chapter and you open it up, perhaps there is some pain in this chapter. Perhaps there's great sorrow. Perhaps there's immense anger. As you read through it, just know that you're the one who wrote this, so you're able to just look at it and just appreciate it for what it is without holding any judgment or commitment to it. Just read the story as if it's happening to someone else. And once you've finished reading the story, you can look at the story and you can choose whether that chapter really works for the future chapters. You can choose to perhaps edit the chapter or remove it altogether. As you can look through all these chapters, notice any cohesion, notice anything that doesn't quite fit to how you want this book to be written. You can remove this chapter if it feels right to how the book is. But also notice what the chapter looks like currently that you're on, that you're currently writing. Notice how the character in this book is changed and transformed by these previous chapters. You can choose to remove the chapter, or perhaps you can see the chapter for what it is. As an integral point that builds the character, the avatar that's being written about. I advise you to go back to this book many times. Seek out those chapters, read them, experience them, and see how they best fit. They no longer suit the novel, this adventure. Edit it. You're the author, and your book is not quite finished. At any time, you can come in and do this because it's not published. It's not yet ready to be put into the record books with the rest of your library. Take some time with this book, and when you're ready, walk back to the elevator. If you're not ready now, come back when you are. I'm going to walk back to the elevator, smiling with joy at the experience of this character that I've written. What great fun. What a great adventure. I'm so happy and so pleased. And I was able to see all these things that were written into the chapter, and how exciting how the character is developing, and how the character is not going to be resistant to these changes, is actually going to go through them and embrace them and see what happens. So exciting. I think on these things as I ride the elevator back. I'll ponder on these things later, I'm sure. I've set my intentions for this novel, and so have you. It is the readers that will read this novel that will wonder in amazement how you get to the end. But you know the book that you're writing is the happy ending you're looking for. You know when it'll be ready to be published. As you come back, and the elevator grinds to a halt,